You're listening to a CNA podcast.
Formula One, a combination of speed and state-of-the-art technology, danger and dazzle. A study last year by Nielsen found that the auto racing event is the most popular yearly sporting series, reaching 826 million people globally. And interestingly, its uptake has been driven by an uptick in female fans. Growth in Asia has also been explosive. According to Nielsen, Asia has a 386 million strong regional following. And Thailand wants in on the action.
News that a Formula One race in 2015 can come to Thailand's capital has got the drivers, the fans and the teams excited.
Did you hear that? 2015. For years, Thailand has toyed with the idea of bringing F1 onto its soil, but plans have never rolled to the final stretch. In June of this year, another lap towards that finish line, though. The former Thai cabinet approved a $1.2 billion bid to host an F1 street race in Bangkok. I'm Teresa Tang. CNA's Saksith Saiyasombut has been following this story for the past decade, tracking Thailand's quest to bring in not only F1, but also other tourist-drawing marquee events. He joins me today from the Thai capital. Hi, Saksith.
Hey, Teresa. Glad to be here.
It is not an exaggeration to say you've been covering this F1 saga for more than 10 years. I saw your blog post from 2012, and I was thinking, this has got to feel like deja vu for you. You know, this time around, though, the conversation, some say, was sparked by none other than Taylor Swift.
Indeed. I mean, it definitely feels like Groundhog Day, seeing this come up every decade or so. But yeah, I mean, Formula One definitely has been on the minds of many Thais here. It has been on the mind of me, being pretty much a lifelong fan of the sport as well. And then seeing news coming up or rumors that it may actually come to the country of my parents, it definitely excites me. And so this is why I have been digging into this story for quite a long time. And so you can definitely imagine my surprise when it came up most recently, and probably the most unusual way, when we had then Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin a few years ago bringing up the notion of bringing big events, and he did it with a rant, more or less.
There are a lot of concerts right now. As you may know, Singapore is hosting Taylor Swift next month, right? Some of you may be attending it. I was wondering why she isn't coming to Thailand. 2 days ago, I've invited the organizer for a chat. And they clearly said that when Thailand hosts concerts, the masses will come. Coldplay came, Ed Sheeran came in the last 2 weeks. 70% of those attending were tourists who flew in specifically for these concerts. That's great to hear, but why isn't Taylor here? Why hasn't Beyoncé come here yet? I was wondering that too.
But, there was some bad blood, and in that sense, when he brought it up, it definitely caused a big discussion in Thailand about getting concerts here. And at that time, he mentioned that there were already good concerts, but of course you want the big A-listers to bring them here to Thailand, not only to churn up tourism, but he is also thinking about big sports events. I mean, Srettha himself, he's a very big sports nut. He loves football, he likes Formula One, and that's why, at least when he was in office, there was definitely a passion project to bring these events to Thailand.
Taylor Swift, she was here in Singapore for 6 concerts back in March of 2024. I never attended, but reports say those shows, they generated so much money, between 222 and 300 million US dollars in economic activity. So it's clear, Saksith, that big events do bring in the big bucks. And of course, here in Singapore, we have the F1 night race, and that's going to continue until 2028. That provides a huge economic injection into the economy as well. If we take it back to F1 in Thailand, is that why officials are so keen to get the race in Bangkok, right? I presume it would be a boon for tourism.
It is the current motivation of tourism officials here in Thailand, for sure. I mean, tourism is still economic key driver here in Thailand, even though economic and arrival numbers have been dipping lately. So this is why tourism officials are slightly panicking. And so this is why also they are looking at quality over quantity. So they want quality tourists, big spenders that come here to Thailand. And also in order to facilitate that, they think that these big events, such as the Formula One Grand Prix, is going to bring in people and have also a trickle down effect. You know? Not only are they flying into Thailand, not only are they booking hotel, not only are they attending the race, the hope here, of course, is that they will go around the city, see the sights and sounds, go to restaurants, to a street food place, and, also travel on and extend the holiday, go to other places in the country as well. But when we talk about Thailand's ambitions to host a Formula One race, over a decade ago, this was actually not the first time that Thailand wanted to host a Grand Prix. We can go all the way back to 1939. This is the first time when Thailand actually wanted to host a Grand Prix. This is pre-Formula One, by the way. And it was supposed to take place in December 1939. But you know what else happened in 1939? The Second World War. So this is why it was cancelled. And it is kind of sad because when you think about it, because in the 1930s, we already had a Thai driver. We had Prince Bira, so even of royal blood, who was racing during that time. And he was also the participant in the first ever Formula One race in 1950 in Silverstone, Great Britain, 75 years ago. So we could have had the chance to have a big Formula One race at that time, even before Formula One existed. So we are now fast forwarding to the present here. Formula One has changed massively. It's such a big global sport, as you said, with such a big audience, not only also much in part thanks to the Netflix documentary Drive to Survive that has drawn in such a diverse fan base. And of course, Thailand wants in on the action. When I started watching Formula One in the 1990s, there were only like 16 or 17 races around the globe, and there were only 2 or 3 in the Asia Pacific. There was one in Australia, there was one in Japan, and then in 2004, Shanghai joined the circuit. Of course, there was also Sepang in Malaysia. Singapore then started to host the first ever night race in 2008. And then, of course, over the years, the Formula One calendar very much expanded very much. We're now talking about 24 races per season. And the upcoming seasons, they are pretty packed as well. And also you see the increase of street circuits. So races on public roads that are closed off, like in Singapore. And there's an increase of that as well. And that is the idea to host one in Bangkok. But the problem, of course, it's a very full calendar. These races have years and years of contracts going into the future. So in order to get on the calendar, there are many considerations. One of them, of course, is being money. And this is why the previous Thai government has put in $1 billion bid. But we have to emphasize this is not confirmed yet, even though talks have been ongoing, and the commercial rights holder of Formula One, they have been at least publicly very open about the idea of Formula One coming to Thailand. But as of now, as we're recording this, nothing has been inked.
So it's not confirmed, and there is no track layout concept yet either. But I know they've earmarked the general area, sort of the neighborhood where it might take place. Can you take us there? Can you describe where the race could potentially be and what it could look like?
So in 1939, when we had that race, the original one, that track was supposed to run around the Grand Palace. And, there have been ideas whether or not they could repeat again. But looking at the logistics, looking how big the circus, so to speak, that is not feasible. So this is why they have pivoted to a different area, the Chatuchak area in the north of Bangkok. And some people might know the Chatuchak Weekend Market. That's where it is. And the thing is that there is no track layout, as you said. There's only the concept of an idea of putting the race in that area. And I've been there many times for different reasons. And I've looked at the map and tried to imagine what a race circuit could look like in Bangkok. And to be very honest with you, I have not connected those lines yet, because it looks to be, it's very hard for me to imagine, let's put it this way, because it's the streets, there are parts that are wide enough to host a Formula One race, then there's parts that are too narrow. I can imagine that the track surface needs to be repaved in order to make it smooth. But yes, there are sections that are very much suitable for Formula Ones. What do you mean with that? Very long straights that go into a hard braking zone and a 90-degree turn that can definitely promote overtaking maneuvers. But then you also want swift and speedy turns left and right, kinks and stuff like that, a chicane here and there. there. But, making that in my mind or just drawing it on a map, I can still not see how a track map would look like. And also, let's not forget, in that area, we had the earthquake earlier this year. Mm-hmm. One of the possible pathways would lead to the only building that collapsed in Bangkok during that earthquake. So for many superstitious people here in Thailand, that's bad juju. So I'm pretty sure that you want to avoid that area.
F1 aside, let's put it aside for a moment. Thailand has also been eyeing other large mega events to get more people to fly into the country. And this is where Tomorrowland comes in, right? It's a massive electronic dance music festival, for those who don't know. It takes place every year. Typically, it's in Belgium. But next year, 2026, it's Bangkok that's going to be hosting the first ever edition in Asia. Tell us about that. Sounds exciting.
So here's the thing. It was unilaterally announced by the Thai government that they're going to host Tomorrowland Asia. But Tomorrowland itself has not said anything. Yes, they have been here. They have been meeting with the Thai government saying that they are open to the idea. But from their side, they haven't confirmed it yet. And this is, I'm sorry to say, but this is very typical of any Thai government that I have covered over the years, that they like to announce things unilaterally, saying like, yes, we got X, Y, and Z. And then the other party says, no, you didn't. You haven't even inked that deal yet. So putting the cart before the horse, so to speak, in that matter. But yes, bringing Tomorrowland to Thailand is definitely part of that plan, bringing these big festivals. And as you said, Tomorrowland is huge. If you go to YouTube and see their concerts with their very elaborate stages, it's very huge. So if you love EDM, if you love electronic dance music, this is really the thing as well. But it goes back to what Prime Minister Seta was saying, that, you want to bring those big concerts to Thailand, but one aspect that needs to be talked about as well is the infrastructure for that as well, So we're not only talking about big concert halls or plazas as well, but you also, for example, need to bring those people there. So public transport, for example, you need those people to stay. Do we have enough hotel capacities? So when we had these big concerts in the recent years, like with Ed Sheeran and Coldplay, they played in the biggest stadiums here in Thailand, but it was in a very residential area, quite far away from central Bangkok, and no public transportation link as well. So this is why, for example, a band like Blackpink, the K-pop band, with their audience skewing younger as well and probably not having a car, this is why they picked a stadium that is in downtown Bangkok with a very excellent public transport link. So these are the considerations that, not only the Thai government has to do, but these are the considerations that currently big acts or any organizers of big events have to keep in mind. This is why Seta has been so bullish about it, and he has been also definitely making his pitch like we hear now.
Thailand has a lot of attractive points that will help us to get more tourists for the tourist industry, to have the chance to make it a world destination. And soft power is going to play its part attracting people.
But, you might have guessed, we were talking about ex-Prime Minister Seta Thavisin, so he's not been in office for quite a while right now. And so this is why these ambitions have also kind of dipped and waned, because no government has been long enough to actually see those things through.
Yeah. What would you say then is the biggest challenge to getting these marquee events into Thailand? For me, what comes to mind is clearly the political instability. You've got all the drama with the Shinawats. There's 3 premieres in 2 years. We've done podcast episodes on this, Saksith. Seta Thavisin, who, as you say, we just heard from, he's not prime minister anymore. People could say Thailand is a challenging place to do business.
It is a challenging place to do business because business wants stability, whether it's form of democracy or dictatorship, that is a different point. But the problem is just simply, if you don't have a government or an administration that is serious about these things and also thinking long-term enough to plan these things ahead, then of course you don't offer any kind of perspective to any kind of person that wants to do business in Thailand. So of course then they look around in the neighborhood, like where else can we go that looks more stable and actually has more better facilities for us to host these things as well. But with Formula One, this is actually a pretty good example as well about party politics, or rather petty party politics. As we mentioned before, right, Formula One has been a brainchild, or this current bid has been very much a passion project of Seta Thavisin and also successor Patterntan Shinawat. Both come from the Pheu party. Now we have a prime minister called Anutin Charnvirakul, who comes from the rival Boomjai Thai party. What you need to know about that party is their home base is in Buriram in the northeast of Thailand. And they have a racetrack there over there, and they have been hosting the MotoGP Grand Prix, so motorbike racing, for many, many years right now. And there has been some drama in the background. There have been allegations when Purtai was still in government that they have pulled funds for that race or pulled public financial support in order to put that in the Formula One race instead. So that could also be a spanner in the works now that we have a government with a political party that has its interests there, that could divert its funds back to its own passion projects. So this is why we are seeing that not only Formula One having a roadblock here, but also many other events that could be seen in the future, or not see in the future rather.
That's very interesting context. You're not a big festival goer, and I do know that you are a huge F1 fan. What about ordinary Thais? How do they feel about these potentially massive events coming to their backyard? Are they eagerly anticipating them? Are they saying, nah, I could take it or leave it?
Formula One is not the most popular sport. I mean, I think we have to be very clear about that. And the most popular sport in Thailand is football and then Muay Thai here. But there is definitely a very passionate fan base here that watches Formula One. There are people that are interested in that. And it's also, as we said many times, it's a growing sport as well. There are more people getting interested in that, and also a more diverse group of people. When I was a kid, I had no friends to talk about Formula One. Now I do have more friends, and also I had more female friends as well to talk about Formula One, which, little Saksith would have never imagined that would ever happen, and not because they're girls. So that little Saksith also would have never imagined to see Thailand be actually on the F1 map at all, be it in form of a race or be it in form of a driver. We mentioned before that Thailand had a Formula One driver way, 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 way back, but we have a Formula One driver now currently driving in the World Championship, Alex Albon. He's been now racing for a couple of years now. He's been definitely a very solid driver, currently driving for Williams Racing, and he's also very interested to get Thailand on the map as well.
I think there's such an amazing opportunity to host a Formula One race in Thailand. I think that the community of motorsport is I don't want to say it's missing, but I think that, not just drivers, but I'm talking about engineers, mechanics, people who want to work in the industry of Formula One. They don't really have a great opportunity, it could be even marketing and social media in Thailand to have that.
The thing is that I'm an F1 fan, but also I'm a journalist. Being a journalist can sometimes pull you back to the reality on the ground. And what we are definitely seeing here is that there's definitely high ambition, but there's very little follow through. And what do I mean with that? I mean, first problem is that we don't have a government that stays long enough to see these things through. B, sometimes there's over ambition. The reason why, for example, the bid over a decade ago failed because Thai officials couldn't shut up about it. And this is something that the commercial rights holder does not like. If it's not inked, if the discussions are still ongoing, they would rather keep it discreet. So they would rather
don't talk about it.
Don't talk about it. Yeah, I mean, don't talk about it. And also the same for SETAs. Like, don't talk about why you didn't get Taylor Swift. Maybe talk about when you get it, actually. So this is also why the previous government was pretty reticent as well, because they definitely have learned the lesson from previous times. This is when we have often checked in back within them saying like, hey, how's the Formula One race going? It's like, yeah, we have nothing to say at this point. Please check back again a couple of times. So, but again, the problem is now that we have a new government. We had a brief chat with the new tourism minister about what his priorities are right now. Obviously, it's of course to stabilize arrival numbers to Thailand because they're dipping. But also in terms of big events right now, what's on his mind at the moment are actually the SEA Games that are going to take place at the end of the year. And he's not thinking beyond that because this government has pledged not to be in office for more than 4 months. So again, it goes back to not having the long-term stability or having the long-term planning that we have here. But personally, as a Formula One fan, I mean, do I dream that we would see Formula One in my country? Yes. Do I think it's possible or that they can pull it off? No, because there's just a lot of mistrust here in Thailand if we actually can pull it off, because there's so many opaque developments that could happen from when this thing is getting in and until we actually can say lights out and away we go. But, I mean, I will keep watching Formula One, whether it's from the couch or in the stands, and whether it's here or on the streets of Bangkok.
Well, dreams do come true, so it is possible. But as we said off the top, you've covered this F1 saga for more than a decade. It looks like you will have to continue to watch this story until we get an outcome one way or the other. Thank you so much, Saksith.
And I will gladly continue this story.
Thanks as always.
Thank you.
And don't forget, find Saksith's reports on CNA.Asia and on YouTube. You can also watch the TV episode of CNA Correspondent every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Singapore, Hong Kong time. The team behind this week's episode is Saya Win, Clara Ong, Tiffany Ang, Junani Johari, Pei Ning Ho, Nat Fairtelvero, and Craig Dale. I hope you join me again next week. Bye for now.